This is not far off Carlton's best lineup. So here we go, the opening bounce of this all-important round 6 clash. Allen up against Stafford, down to Brown. He wins it up towards the half-forward line, but taken by Shannon Grant. Important for a positive start for Sydney, and here goes Captain Courageous. Kelly blasts away up towards Lockett. He can't get the position he wants, but he almost got the football. Sexton goes wide towards the boundary line, and it's pushed over with Manton. A throw in Sydney's left forward pocket.
And the starting 4 in the middle of the ground for Carlton were Ratton, Bradley, Brown and Allen. When you consider that they've got Greg Williams out on the half-forward line, it's a pretty fair midfield for the Blues.
Allen testing once again. Snap in towards goal. Oh! The first 30 seconds been kicked by Darren Creswell. The opportunist.
Well, what a start to the game by the Swans. As you see here, Stephen Carey up against Allen, got it down nicely to Creswell. Nobody in the goal square, just floated through there. And a nice bit of ruck work by the inexperienced Carey, who has lined up at centre-half forward, just sitting about 50 metres, 35 metres off the 50-metre line.
So Creswell, the opening goal of the game. Allen again wins the tap. It's going to be a pivotal duel. We saw a great duel last night. McKernan and Salmon. Hog after it. Lewis off the ground. He's been good this year. Kicked late goals in their defeat last week and out of play. Glorious day in Sydney, as we've already told you. The interchange. Pearce on the left. Murphy and Hamill in the centre. Gee, Pearce, such an important player, isn't he? Over 50 goals a couple of years ago in that premiership year. Got goals last year, but seemingly lost form and struggled with injury towards the end. Creswell, another touch to O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin around the corner to half forward. Chapman and Mackay about 50 metres from goal. Chapman working in front with Mackay. Handball out to Maxfield. Maxfield to Kelly. Kelly 52 metres out. Gives it a good route. Right there. Silvani getting back. Bouncing ball. Waits for it to go through. Does Stephen and a behind. So Sydney have started brightly. They're 1-1. Carlton yet to score.
Silvani and Lockett. What a duel that one's going to be. He goes short to Manton. Thought about it. Now elects to go the other side. It's okay. Finding Christie. On halfback. Woofs it in towards the middle. Stafford just pops across the front of Allen and takes a timely mark. The big man plays well. Back towards Christo again, however, and he defends. In towards Spalding. Takes the mark between centre and halfback. Big day for the Duke of Earl. It's his 100th game for the Blues. He's been a fine servant since joining them. Manton Court gives it across to Sexton, back to Spalding. A stammering approach in towards the forward line. It's picked up by White. His kick goes towards right half forward. Kernahan comes to meet it. Dunkley there also, still with big sticks. He's claimed. Seymour is there to assist Dunkley if need be. Close to the line and eventually over. This entire ground is packed. They've been coming in since the early hours of this morning. Stafford again with Allen. The latter gets a left hand to it. Pushed down in front of the pack. Look at Kelly go, but there's been a whistle. He'll come back.
And Anthony Kurtafidis has pushed down into the square. He's just been picked up by Michael O'Loughlin temporarily, but that's left Stuart Maxfield free on the wing.
Dyson's kick is appalling. Those sort of turnovers they don't need. Clappe goes in towards half forward. Kurtafidis was there, but he couldn't take it cleanly. Kelly's made an excellent start. He gives it across to Roos. They can build something here with Stewie Maxfield. They say to him, go. He does eventually. Has one bounce. Wants to get down towards the forward line. Passes Lockett. Looks towards Chapman. Mackay is there with him. And the Carlton defender does well.
Gee, Maxfield missed a chance there. Lewis was laterally and all on his own. It would have been a gimme goal. He made a mess of it, to be honest. Swans fans everywhere. The Blues have got a bit of voice here too. They're such a popular club. It's a warm day here. Not quite Brisbane heat, not quite the humidity, but it's going to tell on these players in the last half. Allen and Stafford, Bradley. Magnificent player he's been. Firstly at Port Adelaide and now for such a long time at Carlton. Well done, O'Brien to Stafford. Centering kick. Maxfield's got it. Handball off was good. Attacking the goal. Is it Nix? Good kick. just a behind. So Sydney doing all of it at the moment. They're 1-2. They've started very well here against Carlton, yet to score. Just their second match at home. They beat Melbourne in a night game here in round 3. Silvani gives it everything he's got. Good kick too. Gets to Hogg and Hogg away to Bradley.
Bradley's got a bit of space, although eventually he's got to be quick. Forced into a short kick, taken by Ratton. He looks inside 50 and Whitnell comes out, takes a timely mark. He's going to be kicking just on 50. He wants to get on with the job as quickly as he can. Kernahan's his man, although Allen is down there as well. Kernahan's going to be forced to try and do roving. There's a sea of red and white. Grant almost threw the ball out, but it doesn't matter, they're clear. And there's a player down behind, that's Brown. He picks himself up and play goes on. Claim towards centre wing. Manton's going to get there and see it over the line. The kick wide on centre wing.
Young Mark Kinnear making his debut for the Swans. Just a 17-year-old, a very young player to be making his debut in such a big occasion game.
Boy, originally from Assumption, and we wish him well. Koutafidis won it and takes it himself to Fraser Brown. Brown's kick goes over the head of White, but it's wide and it's out of bounds on the full, so Roos. Chance to bring it back. Veteran of 319 games, been quite fantastic. To Nix. Up towards half forward. Kinnear from the side. His opposing 39, Ange Christou, is caught by Chapman. It's okay though. He's got good backup support, and just getting a touch was Manton after the Silvani kick. Went desperately close to going over on the full.
Interesting matchup for Manton. He's picking up Craig O'Brien. We'll see here a great tackle there laid by Wade Chapman. And tackling will be a big feature of today's game.
Sexton hurries towards Hannah. He marks.
Half-back. One of the veterans all made a meal of it. Sydney with a good chance here. Well played by Maxfield to O'Loughlin. Usually clever. Kicks to the pocket. They've got the numbers. Good play there by Kinnear. He just kept Christou out, the kid, and enabled Creswell to take the mark. He's a goal kicker, Creswell. Saw him in that important final against Hawthorn last year. Kick a goal over the top of Nick Holland. And Kinnear just kept Christou out there. So could Creswell kick the second goal of the match? He opened up with a goal early on.
It's important for O'Loughlin to get early kicks too, because that'll make the Carlton hierarchy demand that Koutafidis pays him plenty of respect and keeps him away from their goal.
Should kick it. It's about a 60-degree angle. He's about 35 metres out. Practice a lot of these at training. He's kicked it straight through the middle. Good start. Swans on top early. Couple of goals. Remember, they got the first 3 against Hawthorn last Saturday night.
And you wouldn't believe this mistake here from Mil Hannah. Really did get himself confused. I think he was looking for an option and there weren't any. And those turnovers, particularly where they're so close to goal, has really cost the Blues, because they were a man short in defence and Creswell's come up with his second goal.
Right start by Sydney, and in particular Darren Creswell in front of goal. He's got there 2. From the centre, Ratton couldn't take it, but it pokes it out towards Mil Hannah. Try and make amends for that earlier error. Whitnell gives it to the Diesel. Williams can answer. Long and low in towards goal, and he's got there first. Playing against his old side. This is his 240th game. He's been out for 3 weeks. He's had an illness problem, and there has to be a question mark about him coming into this game. He was okay there, Jared.
He was, and you saw O'Loughlin on screen. He's left Koutafidis to go into the middle. Lewis taking his man. Diesel would have considered giving that ball over to Steve Kernahan, but most of the time, if you've got an opportunity to kick truly from 30, that's the best one, and he did it quite well.
So they close it up a bit here, the Blues. Back to 8 points. Stafford and Allen, Ratton, normally the hard nut in the centre square for the Blues. Kelly, well, he's the equivalent for Sydney, with maybe a touch more class even. And again, a bounce. Carlton just forward of the centre. Rowan Saws, Mark Prince, Mark Nash, 5, 12 and 14, well-known umpires here today.
Brad Seymour's just electing to drop back a little bit, allowing Lance Whitnell to push up the ground.
Free kick to Stafford in the ruck infringement there. So Stafford at centre half back. Out wide. Oh, high kick, not good. Bradley could almost cut it off, but they've got a few numbers here. Seymour to Grant. Normally delivers. He's got a bit of time. Is he going for Lockett? He is. The big fella's underneath. Bouncing ball. Christou and Kinnear. Christou concedes. Out of play. Boundary throw-in. Deliberate?
Well, I think he was going for the point post, the behinds, actually. He was looking to concede the point. So his intention was clearly deliberate. What do you think, John?
Oh, certainly not deliberate out of bounds. Long way away, trying to concede a score, but missed.
Allen and Carey. Carey pushes forward. Hannah. Lewis there. Just sweating off. Should kick the goal now, and he's right, it does.
Well, the Swans did particularly well bringing that ball out of defence, and it's been a feature of Brad Seymour's year that he has run. And whilst he doesn't run deep out of the back pocket, whilst he doesn't feature in this goal, it's Dale Lewis mopping up. He was certainly part of creating it on the wing. But a good start to the Swans, a good start to Lewis.
Sydney again open up that 14-point break. Lewis gets his first. Allen wins it out of the centre. Down towards right half forward. A big clash as Williams tried to go through. Bradley overran it initially, then tried to topo. Clapper over the top. And eventually the umpire, in this case, Rowan Saws, comes in. Picks out a free kick to the man at the bottom of the pack, Matthew Hogg. Bradley wants it short. Hogg wants to go longer. He comes in towards Hannah. Have to be quick. And he does. Hannah's kick is high and long towards Koutoufides. Was unable to get a clear run at it. Whitnell in over the top almost dangerously. They lock it up at half forward. Carlton in attack. A bounce to take place. Last one up, Matthew Nix. Sydney fans in their thousands enjoying a pleasant Sunday afternoon at the SCG. Stafford jostles. Tumbles a punt towards the boundary line. It bounces initially away from Greg Williams, Carlton's only goal scorer. Centres it beautifully in towards Allen, who takes it 70 metres out and kicking towards a congested forward line. Kernahan will be earmarked for this. He's got to beat 3, and he almost does. Ratton waits down, gives the hand pass away. Should be a goal to Whitnell. He's missed to the right. Opportunity going begging for the youngster there.
He's in goal kicking form. He kicked a big bag in the reserves competition last week back into the side. In fact, I think it was 7 goals. So he certainly would have expected to kick that one. But this may well be the first time he's been to the SCG.
Dyson to bring it in. You're good with birthday, Sandy. I think it's his 30th, isn't it, today? Goes out wide. Dunkley, Allen, Roos onto it. He's got Kelly if he can get it to him. Clappe with him. Taken by Kelly. Away with 1 bounce. And a second. Roos inside. He may go to him. Tries to draw a man to it and then kicks the ball dreadfully. Allen to Bradley, besieged by Lockett. That's not healthy. Taken by Orchard. To Maxwell. Good build-up. To Grant, who got around Greg a bit too easily there, Williams. Good kick to Lewis, who so often gets down the ground. 50 metres out. Training drill. Kicks for goal. And does drill it. Now, Paul, that was easy. After a Kelly miss kick, they were able to set it up. Not much resistance from number 2 for Carlton on that occasion. And Lewis as easy as you like.
You might just find that Williams slipped on the hard wicket there, Bruce, and he couldn't quite get his footing. But nevertheless, it was poor play by the Swans, by Carlton there, not to make the most of Matty Allen's handball. I think he also lost his footy. Lewis in good start, good form.
26 plays 7. That birth date, Bruce, is confirmed as we go back to the centre. Who can win it out? Bradley goes for a roundhouse right. Down towards centre half forward. It's okay, it's going to be effective. They got the numbers initially. It was Spalding who was going through. Here's O'Loughlin. He's an excitement machine to watch. O'Loughlin's away. Around centre wing. Up towards right half forward. A bit of holding on the part of Andrew McKay on Chapman. It goes over the line on the right half forward flank. A good start by Sydney if you've just joined us. 4 goals to Carlton, 1-1. Sydney goals have come from Lewis and Creswell, 2 apiece on a very fine day here in Sydney. Diesel Williams, Carlton scorer. This is Bradley. Around his body, back in towards the middle. Clappe traps it nicely. A little too quick for Koutoufides. Roos feeling the heat. Lovely hand pass from Williams. White in over the top. Nix is over him. And Umpire Mark Prince, who specialises as an optometrist, which is possibly a good thing today, comes in for a bounce.
Yeah, okay. You'd have to say, in racing terms, that Sydney have settled better than Carlton. They were really making some fundamental errors, Carlton, and just haven't quite picked up the tempo of the game, and Sydney's pressure is fantastic.
No doubt about that. Went through O'Loughlin, good hands over by Grant to Creswell. Here's Lockett, he's in the box suit. Silvani does a good job. Was it a push? Here's Hannah. Lewis with him. Hannah with a little bit of time. Handball well weighted to Christou. Left footer, remember. Then gets around and kicks it beautifully to Allen and finds his mark. Now, will White run for him? No, he's shepherding Grant at the moment. Back in board to Manton. Manton, very honest. To centre wing to Spalding. Spalding to White. Bit slow in motion. He gets away from Stafford. Delivers to Kernahan. Not a particularly good kick. Kernahan over the top of it, trying to force it out. Kelly was back there, rather Dyson taken again by Spalding. Back to Allen, who's got a lot of time, but Roos has filled a hole at full forward. Allen couldn't go long, and he goes short to Spalding. Spalding just outside 50.
Interesting choice from Adam White to go short to Kernahan. He could have put that ball right in the goal square, and even Sticks wouldn't have been able to convert from there.
Well, they were looking for Kernahan there, but didn't find him. Williams was playing for one and over the top of him. Allowed to go on. Spalding back to Allen. It's almost like an anti-climax at the moment, the way this build-up has happened. Sydney, look at the numbers. Well, taking no chances at all was Carey. He had 3 Sydney Swans around him. They probably could have worked it out a little bit better. So boundary throw.
You did speak of numbers, Bruce. All but 4 Swans players are down inside that defensive 50. And Carlton are really struggling to try and pinpoint a forward, and they're becoming too Kernahan conscious.
It's Kernahan who gives it to Ratton. It's a high kick. It's a rainmaker. Straight up and down. Kernahan was there. Sydney should be able to clear. Grant takes the hand pass. And away they go to the outer side. Leading in the race is Sexton. Caught. Dropped it like a hot potato. The umpire says play on. And they'll lock it up on that outer side.
I think he actually punched it, Sandy. It wasn't a long punch, but it was certainly a punch.
Comments from John Russo, our 4th umpire. And a bounce on the outer wing. Sydney at the moment holding sway in this first term, if you've just tuned in. Bradley, game number 251, across to Milhana, up towards Whitnell, Kernahan and co. Well, he's just a fantastic player. Now look out, Diesel.
50.
He's given him 50. And Andrew Dunkley, to the roar of this crowd, is going to come down past the middle.
Now, Diesel anticipated that was play on. Rowan Shaw's didn't call play on. He really has to wait for the call. He ran over the mark. We see here Diesel just runs straight at him. I mean, clearly...
Didn't Dunkley fall backwards there? Didn't he suck the umpire in?
But Diesel's been pinned for unduly encroaching the mark.
He looks towards Lockett. It passes him. He's got good backup support, though. Trying to force his way through was Chapman. Off to Creswell. He pulls it back into half forward once again. Manton is there in defence.
Well done to Allen. Allen brings it out wide to Sexton. Mr. Reliable. Brown back to Sexton. Under pressure, Sexton. Good kick. Very well played to Hogg. Hogg at half-back, kicks to centre wing. Finds his target in Koutafidis. So is this his first kick for the day? Has he had one before? Koutafidis. To centre wing. White. So small stats so far for number 43 for the Blues, their champ. Speaking of champs for Carlton. Kernahan, not a good handball, sloppy to Brown. Brown put under pressure. Carlton has not settled at all, have they? They're really struggling here, the Blues. They're 1-1 to 4-2. Here's a replay of this.
I just reckon Dunkley actually decided to fall back. Fantastic play.
It makes no difference. The 50-metre penalty is paid for unduly encroaching over the mark. Whether Dunkley falls over or not doesn't make any difference.
Not disputing that, John, but I just thought it was a good little bit of acting.
Creswell, O'Loughlin, and again a bounce. So halfway between centre wing and half forward right for the Blues. Trailed by 3 goals. Justin Murphy, goal kicker, getting ready to come on. Kicked a couple of fantastic goals against Collingwood a fortnight ago when Carlton needed them early in the match. Allen, good thumb, clap A. Spalding, Roos to tidy up. Lewis is in good nick. She well played. His vision was outstanding. Orchard is providing some run. Kicks to Kinnear. Well taken by the 17-year-old. This is his first game, remember. Takes his time. Delivers beautifully to Lockett. Couldn't take the mark. O'Brien onto it in a hurry. Tries to go off the ground. He had momentum, but he couldn't get the kick. And then Manton out of play.
Another fumble from Carlton, and they really are struggling at the present time. Sydney are just moving the ball so much better through the middle of the ground. Justin Murphy coming onto the ground for Clappe. But they've got to get their matchups right, because they are really getting killed in the middle of the ground. You see the one close matchup there is Hogg going with Shannon Grant.
Carey towards O'Brien. And smell a goal from a long way off, but on this occasion, away to the left and one behind.
In the middle of the ground, Creswell's got Bradley, Kelly's got Bratton, but they're not really playing toe-to-toe. They're playing a little bit wide of each other, and it's working better for Sydney at the present time.
Christo finds Brown. Back to Ange it goes again. Comes towards Murphy, who's just come onto the ground. He'll kick towards the middle. Target being Spaulding. Ruse to go with him. Creswell. Look at that to O'Loughlin. That is dynamite. And here's real danger now, because the mark's been taken by O'Brien 55 metres out. He heads for home with a long ball. There's another one to Sydney. Game number 97 for Craig O'Brien, and there's his first for the day. Sydney running hot.
Well, it'll be difficult to know what to do if you were in the Carlton coaching box, because their side appears to be flat. It appears not to be as desperate as Sydney, and they are simply running rings around the side that I thought would have won this game.
It's early days, but the great signs for the Swans early. O'Brien's long bomb, 5-3 to 1-1. Allen in the centre. Kelly's been good in the early stages. Everybody's been good, it seems. Lewis getting it again to Creswell, who kicked the first 2 goals of the game. Can stroll to 50 on the left. Floating kick. Well, they're having pop shots at the moment, aren't they? Behind.
Well, that was probably a little bit optimistic from Darren Creswell on the left foot. I noticed Carlton moved Williams into the centre, but they look lacklustre. They look lethargic, Carlton, and they're getting an absolute lesson in running and doing some unselfish running.
Gee, look at that. That's just so casual. O'Brien back to Lockett. Well done, Christo. Show some courage. Chapman tries to get on it. Hot free kick. Chapman, surely. Is it a goal? Orchard, he's kicked it. It's going to be there. Another one. That's 6.
He's out. He's out goal.
The free kick was paid, an advantage called then, Bruce.
Yep. Gee, Orchard's goal. So Chapman, that was a gutsy effort by the little fellow. That is a trademark of his game, isn't it?
Well, it all stems from that very unusual fumble from Greg Williams. Wade Chapman, he's a gutsy player. He puts his head on the line, body on the line. A lot of times he's paid the price.
Well, here is Wade Chapman, unfortunately, in real trouble after that heavy knock. The advantage was paid. The goal resulted in Mark Orchard.
He's still unconscious.
So this is a bitter blow for Sydney, who've made such a lightning start. And a groan goes up around the ground as the replay comes over the big screen. Take us through it, Jared.
Well, it was just a very high kick on the head. And we might just go down to Dipper. Dipper, you had a pretty good look at that one.
Not that one, Jared, because it's a bit far from me, but Earl Spaulding's come off as well. He looks like he's hurt his other knee at the moment. He's just going through some exercises with the doctors down here, so I'll keep you up to date with that.
Well, it's interesting now to look at, just Jared, if we can have an overview look at the ground. You've got 4 groups of players getting together while, in fact, I suppose you could say 5, because unfortunately Chapman is at one end of the ground. A most unusual sight.
It is unusual, and if you're the Carlton team, you'd be thanking the lucky stars that you had an opportunity to regroup, because they are just playing very ordinary football. 10 scoring shots to 2, and whilst Sydney and Carlton have got groups out on the ground, as we see an horrendous sight, and also there's Earl Spaulding with a knee injury. Carlton have got an opportunity to regroup.
Matthew Hogg, the player that actually made the contact, is limping with his right. If you have a look at Matthew Hogg, he's limping. His right leg's made contact there, and Hogg is actually coming off in trouble, so it's obviously hurt him as well, but not in anywhere near as much trouble as...
So Hogg coming off. Jared, I don't want to go overboard about Greg Williams. He might have slipped in the centre a moment ago. You know, it didn't look like it to me, but he's been 2 weeks out of the game. I mean, I've never seen him start so slowly and make so many 3 weeks out of the game, so many elementary mistakes.
Well, let's agree to disagree on the centre one, but certainly the drop mark down in the back pocket, Bruce, has cost Carlton a goal. And well, you've got to question whether he's had the preparation now. He's missed a bit of football.
I guess the point I'm getting at, David Parker made a point last week against Geelong that he felt that in retrospect he probably played too many blokes that weren't quite ready at the same time. He brought in about 4, and Greg at the moment just seems out of it, doesn't he? And poor Wade Chapman is certainly out of it at the moment, and we really feel for him.
Well, it's a very high blow to Wade Chapman. No doubt he was just not clean out. And you'd expect that he will certainly not come back onto the ground, and let's just hope that it's nothing more serious than being knocked unconscious.
Dipper, what about Hogg?
Hogg is suggesting to the doctors he's got a cork thigh, and he's rubbing it at the moment, so the doctors have just come through stretches, as we're seeing on the boundary line here.
Well, Carlton now, is it going to give them time to settle and analyse the situation? Is it going to stop this wonderful run that Sydney has had? Let's hope that Chapman is going to be okay.
Well, Clinton King has come onto the ground for Wade Chapman. Carlton have got to restart, get their engine room going. They've had no drive out of the middle, been absolutely slaughtered in the middle of the ground from half back to half forward.
33 points is the margin. Stafford has a mighty run, but he's beaten by Allen. Here goes O'Loughlin, tries to thread his way through. Held onto it for a long time. Couldn't get it out clearly. He'll get the chance through the captain. He wants Lockett. He's got one grab, but that's all. Silvani tries to lock it up. Back to Lockett again. The mighty right boot goes around in towards the forward pocket. And one behind is the result.
That's the frightening thing, I think, for Carlton, Sandy, and that the Swans are now leading by 5 goals 4, and Tony Lockett hasn't had an impact. In fact, their only winner out here, Carlton, is Steve Silvani.
Christie goes to the outer side. Murphy gives it to Ratton a chance to run.
Sinowin took a fair while about it, and in the end had the kick reduced. Lewis copped a high one. Must be a free kick. Going back to Lewis in the centre.
Matthew Allen pretty quick to leave the scene too.
It was the old-fashioned, yes.
They worked it well to Kelly after getting into a bit of trouble. Kelly goes long, kicks it from 70. This is a chance. Gee, hasn't he added another dimension to his game this year in kicking goals?
Yeah, well, he runs so straight and down the corridor of the ground. And we'll just have another look. It may just remind you of an incident at Port Adelaide a couple of weeks ago. Certainly, if you're looking for somewhere to put your jacket, there's one out in the middle.
Christou short to Silvani. So the Blues need a goal or 2 before quarter time. Manson half volleyed it off. Well, paid the money. So Carlton with a chance to steady. To Sexton. Just looking for a winner somewhere. Having a lot of trouble getting the ball past the centre line.
Sexton goes long. Up towards the middle. Big pack of players, including Hannah. Carey was there also. O'Loughlin at the back. Look at him. Somehow he gets clear. Just gets his kick towards Lockett. He's coming into the game. There are 5 or 6 players you could put down as excitement machines to watch in this game, and I've got to say that this man wearing number 19, Gerard, is one of them.
Well, as the new millennium emerges, he is going to be one of the great stars of the competition in Michael O'Loughlin. He's an Aboriginal player, and they get their own cults following up here in Sydney. Derek Kickett was a star, but Michael O'Loughlin has taken over. And he's just so talented. He knows exactly what to do with the football and seemingly always has time.
Lockett directly in front. Coming into this game with 1,134 career goals. He averages just over 5. 46 metres.
Well, it's more than he's kicked in the first quarters of the last 2 matches he's played, anyhow.
Can't kick it from the bench.
Bit hard, the impossible angle.
13 shots for 2. 6-7 to 1-1. They should be further in front. Well, Christou again. Bradley, can he mop up? A bounce. Then away. A couple of players behind down after a shepherd or 2 and out of play. Bradley finding the boundary line at half-back. That's one thing I've noticed, John, that the umpires have been on to players running too far with the ball this weekend. Yeah,
well, they certainly weren't onto the shepherd that Christou laid on Craig O'Brien then.
No. Those marks are interesting. The chip around for Carlton, 25 to 9. It's about the only place you'll find they're in front at the moment.
And this is the one ground you don't chip the football round. You've just got to go, if possible, down the middle and long.
Bradley belts it. That's better. Kernahan and Dunkley. Hannah at the back. Also Grant kicking it away. And out of play. nothing happening for the Blues at all. There's Hogg and Spalding. Spalding's knee a bit of a problem. Hogg, after going into Chapman, and Clappe and Spalding both warming up, so Spalding able to move all right by the look of it on the interchange. Kernahan, Stafford pretty easily out of the air. Nick's outnumbered. Brown, a couple of kicks early, but he's been quiet since. And again, it's going to be a bounce. About 45 metres from Carlton's goal. This beautiful Sunday afternoon in Sydney. Temperature expected to get to the mid-20s. We're close to that now, and as close to a full house as you'll get. Must be about 37,000 people here. Creswell onto his left.
Goes back towards centre wing. Williams at the bottom of the pack somehow gets out the back door towards Koutafidis. He can't get into the game, but he's certainly not on his own there. And Rowan Saws, the veteran in white, now aged 42, comes in for a bounce. 6-7, plays 1 goal 1 inside the last 2 minutes of this long first quarter. Not helped, of course, by, sadly, the injury. As Williams goes goalwards, he kicked the first, and he's off target to the left there. It is to Chapman, who left the ground on a stretcher behind on that occasion to Greg Williams.
Well, he certainly could have done with that one, Carlton. Williams, it would have been his second. He got a nice one on the left foot also earlier in the game. He does tend to kick more and more on his left foot these days.
O'Loughlin's kick wobbles in towards the centre. White does it alone for Carlton, off towards Bradley. Cost one earlier and appeared to be in trouble. Well, he put Allen under the pump then. The big man does well from the bottom of the pack. He gives it out to White, and they've got players on the outer side. Hamill should go from 45 metres. He lines it up for the Blues, and he misses to the right. No pressure on him then. Should have capitalised, but not to be. 1-3, plays 6-7.
Well, if Carlton supporters are looking for a positive, it's that their side at the present time is at rock bottom. They can't get any worse than this, and there is only one way to go in the second term. Nothing going right for them at the present time, and Sydney playing great football.
Dyson gets good distance, almost to centre wing. Creswell's had a terrific opening term. A little bit of a fumble to work to King. Well done to Stafford. Stafford to full forward. Beautiful kicks. Wonderful skills by the big fella hitting O'Brien. And he can kick this O'Brien. He's proven that before. He kicked a goal from this distance earlier in the term. Breeze a bit behind him. Kicks it very strongly, but it's a behind. He's a strange player, isn't he, Craig O'Brien? He's had 3 shots for goal in the opening term, 1-2. He's either very good, and he started very well today, or as Mae West used to say, he's either very bad, isn't he? 6-8 to 1-3. It's all or nothing.
I get the feeling, Sandy, that the crowd is almost in shock. They came here expecting to see a great competition, and it's just been all one way.
I'm sure May is too, getting a mention at the SCG. Nonetheless, play goes on. Sexton on half-back. Inside the last 20 seconds now. The Blues will be hoping to regroup at quarter time. This is a big pack of players at centre wing. Kernahan was amongst them. Creswell, clever hand pass towards Roos. Chips wide to O'Brien. He's come all the way down to centre wing.
And Sydney are running so much from defence that there isn't a player in the defensive 50 for Sydney, and all the Carlton players being sucked up the ground.
As the siren sounds, that ball travels over the head of Dale Lewis. He booted 2 goals earlier in the term. Sydney fans give their side a standing ovation. Can Carlton get back into this game? 6-8, plays 1-3. Crowd is somewhat hushed. They like very much what they've seen so far. Through the arms of Lewis and taken by Ratt. Carlton want the first couple if they're going to storm back towards Kernahan. Good diving mark taken on the last line of defence by Andrew Dunkley. He's been the rock of Gibraltar of Sydney's defence. Kicks wide towards Kelly. He's got to beat Murphy. Pushes the handball out in front. Look out. He's still going through. Played by Captain Courageous. Kelly charges towards Lockett. He's home. What football.
The big plugger. What a great mark. And well, they're the 2 most famous footballers in Sydney at the present time, and Paul Kelly and Tony Lockett. And well, we didn't think that we'd be seeing Tony leave the ground, and you'd almost have to put the time clock on him to see what sort of hang time he had.
Great to see, and it started with Kelly.
Oh, it was a great run, wasn't it?
Coming out of defence. Lockett now to put the icing on the cake. And that will really leave Carlton scratching their heads. look of determination from the big man. He kicks from 40 metres. This time he's got his first. I'll tell you what, he snuck that in too. So Lockett gets number 1 and Sydney 7. 7-8 plays 1-3.
Well, it was another Kelly-inspired goal here. Justin Murphy handballed the ball. Would have been a Tiki Touchwood free kick, but fortunately the umpire didn't play it because it may well have interrupted the momentum of Paul Kelly. Have a look at Big Plugger. What a great mark.
Gee, this scoreboard's about to fall over. It's so lopsided. Look at that, 7-8 to 1-3. 15 shots to 4. The Blues have got to do something quickly. Allen and Stafford. Stafford having a very good match. Brown's quick kick towards centre half forward. Whitnell misses it, gets a second chance. Tackle on him was good. Blues trying to set it up now. Kudafiti's caught. It was high in the end, but he did duck. Ratton's high ball to fall forward. Going early, Murphy. Dunkley timed it superbly and belted the ball over the line for boundary throwing. It's Ratton, best and fairest in the premiership year of 1995. Blues lost here in that premiership year, and I think Lockett kicked 8 in a comeback match. He's always coming back, isn't he? But comes back so strongly. Ratton, Brown, Orchard onto him. Brown tucking it in again. Little kick was good play by Fraser. Allen got it out to Murphy. Murphy's handball missed its mark. O'Loughlin and Kelly. There's some riches around one another. Handball by Seymour. Good to Kelly. Kelly through the centres, playing a magnificent game. Lockett. Can he half volley? He does. Crashes through. Still the big plugger. Slow handball to centre half forward. Good body work by O'Brien. Goes to ground. They swarm on top of him. Sexton's there. So much ineffectiveness for Carlton at the moment. And Lockett into the action again with Kelly. And it's going to be a bounce.
Difficult to see where Carlton are going to get the spark from. No drive through the middle of the ground, and on the other hand, the Swans have got Kelly and O'Loughlin just driving through the middle, giving them an endless supply.
Carey gets a nice belt down towards Lewis, onto Lockett. He's caught. The big man has fell to the ground. A chance for Kudafiti's to clear. He does, and maybe this can start something for Carlton. They desperately need a score. It's pushed out in front of big Matty Allen and taken over with Greg Stafford for another throw in. The kick coming from White on centre wing. Sydney Swans fans smiling at the moment. Yes, high. And a throw in between the centre wing and the right half forward for Sydney. Williams caught, runs into trouble, taken by Grant, pushed off the ball. Dyson delightfully done to O'Loughlin, back to Kevin Dyson. 75 out, he looks towards Lockett, who's clear and takes it on the chest. This has shades of becoming a rout.
Well, I was going to say it'll be a real challenge for our cameraman to find a Carlton supporter with a smile on their face at the present time, and they're playing it differently both sides. Lockett is just one man alone in the forward line as Dyson using his skill, and that is the long kick, getting it down quickly to Lockett. Up the other end of the ground, it seems to always be a crowded Carlton forward line when and if they get the ball down there.
So Lockett for his second. Kick one just a couple of minutes ago. 45-degree angle. The roar will tell the story, one way or the other. There's a way to the right, and there's a singular moan from this huge crowd. And things could have been considerably worse for Carlton. And Tony had his kicking boot on in this first quarter and a bit. 7-9 plays 1-3.
51-9.
You can never discount Carlton, but it's difficult to make a case for them at the moment to get back into this game.
No doubt about that. Christo brings it in. Stafford in the centre. Sexton was at the back. We'll get a report on Chapman from Dipper in a moment. A handball by Ratton. Kudafiti's. Murphy. Good handball to Hannah. Bit better this one. Hannah centering kick, and the Blues get on the end of it. No. Seymour front spot. Didn't take the mark. Lewis went to ground. He was courageous in the first instance and quickly on it. Dipper, what about Chapman?
Well, it's good news, Bruce. He has come to in the rooms and he's okay. The doctor assures me he wasn't as serious as we thought it was.
Well, we'll keep monitoring that situation.
Interesting, that attack into the forward line for Carlton, coming around the wings here. It's the long way home at Sydney. whereas the Sydney thrust forward go generally down the middle of the ground.
Koutafidis after a ricochet off Stafford. Murphy's handball. Kouta tries to take them on. Good touch there by Pearce. Pearce has kicked the centre half forward. Whitnell and Roos. Whitnell a good effort. Handball was good to Williams. Greg on the left was just touched, taken by Kernahan. Hurried it a bit, Sticks. Bouncing ball and now out. Well, they just had a bit more time, I think, than Kernahan realised in the end. Williams cut off his shot for goal, and then Kernahan probably panicked a bit, 20 metres out, and no result.
It's in the right forward pocket for the Blues, though. They must take advantage here. Allen leaning into it, Brown to do the roving, beaten by Dyson, however. Dunkley again defends, wobbles it over the head of Murphy. Koutafidis clean bowled, so too was Hannah. On King, brings him to the ground. Comes to Kelly, can't take it on the chest, but his recovery powers are excellent. Drifts it down towards Lewis. Now he's got Maxfield. He uses the left footer. Stewie Maxfield. The Lockett lead is ignored. He goes longer in towards full forward. Over the top. Christou's at the back. Gives chase and sneaks away to Ange to the half-back flank. Whitnell's come a long way down with Paul Roos, and it's the veteran who beats the youngster on this occasion. Centering towards Creswell. Darren Creswell is still 70 metres out. Lewis drops into that hole at half forward and he marks in front of Koutafidis.
Well, there's one side working out on the ground at the present time, and the other side's just sitting back waiting for their teammates to do the work. And the Swans now with 6 goals, 6 lead, 12 scoring shots in front of Sydney Swans are really just sitting back, and this game is going to be over for them unless they unless they pull it out. They're going to be all over at half time.
Lewis going for number 3. He's away to the left.
The only thing keeping him in the game at the present time is Aaron kicking in front of goal.
That one out of bounds on the full. Silvani to bring it back into play. No change in the score. 7-9. Plays 1-3.
Hannah off, Clappe on.
Over the mark, John.
Yep, got to bring the ball into play over the mark.
So Greg Williams has had a few possessions.
Blood rule.
So who's coming off? The kicker is he? Silvani. So Christou to take it. So a bit of a delay here as the champion fullback. Apparently we have been told that Tony Lockett pointed out the fact that Stephen Silvani was bleeding to the umpire, who was then onto it.
Just a social conscience bringing that to the fore, was it?
Hannah coming on, so he was off a moment ago. Christou to bring it in at scoreboard. 7-9 to 1-3. Spalding warming up with Hogg. Both a bit restricted at the moment, so the Blues are in trouble. Not only on the scoreboard, Christou's kick, good distance. Creswell and Kelly are just having a ball today. Taken by Maxwell, delivers to Lockett. Over the top, Christou's got the job on Lockett. Now Kinnear, can he kick his first? He can. Well, you've got to be careful. There's a long way to go. I haven't seen Carlton play this badly in a long, long time.
Oh, it's very disappointing, isn't it, Bruce? Because we all came here expecting to see a great competition, a great game of football. And we are seeing a great game of football for Swan supporters because they are giving Carlton one of the all-time great hidings, and I'm sure they'd have big smiles on their face, this red and white crowd.
It's all one-way traffic here at the SCG at the moment. Stafford beats Allen. Bradley's hand pass ricochets away. This gives Orchard the chance, and he eludes a couple. He dodges and he weaves. He kicks towards King down on the half-forward line, who marks in front of the eyes. Looks like an unmade bed, but he's very effective. 70 metres out is Clinton King. Into that ever-potent forward line. Big pack of players, including Stephen Carey. Almost passed to Bradley. Here, you take it. It's too hot for me.
That's illegal.
Hannah at the back. Whitnell caught. Has it stolen? Can O'Loughlin get clear? Yes, he can. Look out. There's danger now. He just floats it to the outer side. That's marked by Darren Creswell. In towards half forward. Manton, a strong approach. A little too strong, said the umpire.
Now, what would have been going through Mark Nash's mind then was what was Manton's intention, and obviously felt that Manton's intention wasn't just to spoil but was to make a bit of contact high as well, so the free kick was paid.
Well, they're all getting amongst the goal kicking now. Brad Seymour's going to have a shot.
And again this season, Sandy, it's been the feature of his year, the amount of running he is doing from defence, from deep in the last line of defence. The back pocket's his general position. He's kicked a number of goals this year.
Seymour from 48 metres.
That ain't one of them.
He's going to head back to the back pocket, I think, and practice some kicking.
In fact, I think he might have only kicked one, but he certainly has set up a number of goals, and that's the strength. And let's have a look at this, John. It's gridiron.
Well, it was a backward pass.
That is illegal, John, isn't it?
It is. It certainly is.
Giving the ball. So
41, 32.
Look,
6.
They need a few breaks at the moment, the Blues. It's 8-9-1-3. The kicking has been pretty ordinary by Sydney, kicking for goal, but everywhere else has been spot on. King to Kelly. Kelly's got Creswell, uses him, playing superbly this midfield for Sydney. Floating kick, not a good kick that time. Lockett made a great contest of that against Sexton, and then the Blues under pressure. Maxfield onto it, Christo onto Maxfield. Free kick out. There was a flurry in there, and it was a bit difficult to work out, but free kick from Rowan Saw.
Paid to Hamill for being slung after he disposed of the ball, actually dumped to the ground.
Short to Manton. Manton goes long to centre wing. Murphy, good flow, beautiful mark. Had the ride on Shannon Grant and used it. Very exciting player, Murphy. Ex-Richmond. Lovely mark. So gives it his best. Kicks it about 60 metres. Kernahan, Hannah, Roos and Dunkley are on top at the moment. Roos on Whitnell early, and Dunkley on Kernahan. And Whitnell now dropping back, and Lewis has picked him up for the moment as the tackles. So Sydney getting to their man quickly.
I don't think Carlton have scored a goal for probably 40 minutes. Seymour, who had a shot just a few moments ago, heads for the boundary line, just trying to gain valuable metres, and he does that, pushing it to the outside wing. Silvani, who was told by his opponent Tony Lockett to get off with the blood rule, is set to return, so Hannah makes his way back to the bench. Kudafiti's in the meantime, floats over the top. Williams down in front, back to Kuda. In towards half forward. Kernahan at the back, got a hand to it, couldn't take it. Oh, Seymour crunched. Almost loses the jumper.
In that situation, the tackler must try to tackle legally. In that case, it was just crude.
To Dyson, who just chips over the top. It's effective enough now. They've got the players running if they want them. Lewis was one. He looks further down the field over the left footer, and Stewie Maxfield sneaks away from White. Maxfield's kick's going to stay in, hugging the boundary line. O'Brien almost held it, but the second grab over the line, so there'll be a throw-in.
Well, the question of pace has been hovering over Carlton's head for, well, most of the last 14 or 15 months. And after today, with Carlton really struggling in the middle of the ground with pace, it's going to be, I'm sure, exploited and questioned for the next month at least.
Creswell's tap is taken by Sexton. His floating kick comes back towards centre wing, but it's marked by Stafford in front of Allen. He's come back strongly after that nasty groin injury. Kicks in towards half forward. Just all one-way traffic. Strong mark taken by this young boy playing his first game. Kinnear's already kicked a goal. Chips in towards half forward. Lewis playing in front of Clappe.
There's big raps on Mark Kinnear, and you can see why after having a look at him for just a quarter and a half. He's got the ability to make the right decision, not to get flustered, and Greg Stafford has certainly been the best big man on the ground. What a fantastic mark that was, and it's a pretty good debut to date.
So Lewis to shoot for goal, kicking from some 45 metres. He's already got a couple. Missed one badly to the left. That is straight through the middle. Sydney march on their merry way. Lewis has 3 and Sydney 9. 9-10-64. Carlton staggering at 139.
Greg Stafford just indicating he's going to go long, and that's exactly what he did. And well, what a great grab from Mark Kinnear, who we're going to see plenty more of him, and as his body develops, he's going to be maybe even a key position player.
Well, it's an unbelievable scoreline here. 9-10 to 1-3. Allen wins the tap. Ratton out of the centre. Kicks to the pocket. Pearce front spot. But Sydney have got numbers, as they so often do in this situation. Grant runs it towards the line. Whitnell behind him. Huge crowd. I think they're stunned, as we said in the first quarter a bit. They're certainly cheering when the Swans go forward, but they're finding it pretty hard to get too involved. I wondered if Sydney could keep the intensity up with such a big lead at quarter time. Well, there's no problems about that at the moment. They've increased that lead and have got an absolute stranglehold on the match now. Allen, Williams trying to cut it off. Seymour very easily away and finds Shannon Grant. It is a bit too easy at the moment. I mean, if you're a Carlton supporter back home in Melbourne, you must be hating what you're watching.
The Blues haven't scored this quarter.
Mix. Dyson. Gaps everywhere for Sydney. Dyson, who we were told at the beginning of the year wouldn't play a lot because of business commitments, but he's been very good. Belt away from the back was good by Christou. Back to Shannon Grant. He's got time to work. Clappe just smothered that one. Orchard and McKay. McKay's been pretty quiet off the ground by Grant was good. Maxfield busy as always. Taken by Kelly, whose performance early was explosive.
I tackle on Kelly.
Free kick. Thanks, John. So Paul Kelly about 60 metres out. Now Lockett's kept the square open here. I wonder if this is a plan to run into the goal square. Now he moves back towards it. Kelly goes to centre half forward. Carlton have got numbers. Carey came in and made a good contest of it. That's Stefan Carey. And it's going to be a bounce at centre half forward.
Generally a pretty dangerous kick to go across the ground to the top of the square. Only 2 kicks from goal there, but Sydney have got so many numbers down there. They just seem to have 5 players on the screen to every Carlton player. Whenever there's a loose ball or a contest, the numbers are always with Sydney.
You would have to have been watching for a long time for the last goal from Carlton. Here's Orchard slamming towards Lockett and goal. The big man stops it, loses it to Silvani, who comes wide, just hoping for some relief and getting it in the form of the boundary line. Feedies to do the ruck work, at least try to, but doing it from behind. Sydney chant goes up. Creswell gives it to O'Brien. O'Brien floats a high kick in towards the forward line in front, but unable to take the mark on that occasion is the new boy Kinnear. It doesn't matter. Roos is 51 metres out. He heads for home with a long kick in the back of the fence. Martin Gaines has kept it. Goal number 10 to Sydney. 10-10-70, 1-3-9.
And Paul Roos hasn't kicked all that many goals this year, that being just his second. But it was a beauty, wasn't it? And why not? Everybody else has kicked a goal for Sydney today. He might as well come off the back line and join in the party.
What odds Dunkley next?
10-10 to 1-3. 7 goal scorers so far for the Sydney Swans. Bradley, Williams, that's better. Bradley attacks from 55. Kick to the goal square. Roos is back there and he kicked the goal a moment ago. He's old enough to be Whitnell's father and he's giving him a father of a you-know-what at the moment. As Nix gives it. You got that out of your book too, Sandy.
I thought it was a mother.
Kick by... free kick going to Sexton at centre wing.
Holding man in the contest.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm desperate for Carlton to kick a goal. Bradley at half forward, he's a long way from home. Had a few kicks, Bradley. This will be 7th, but not much has happened when he's had the ball today. There's just nothing up forward for them. Kernahan's having problems. Whitnell's had a lot of problems. Now Bradley with the sun streaming down, centres the ball, wanting a big mark from one of the Blues. Lewis attacks it strongly, taken by Dunkley, got through pretty easily, then belts it with that wobbly old kick of his. Sexton in pursuit. Don't know if it'll go out. It does.
No, dribbled over first. It's close. Dribbled over first. Sexton actually kicked it after it had already gone out of bounds, and that was when it went over the full. It was out there, and then Sexton comes in and kicks it over. No, that's the second time.
Fair enough, John. No, you're probably right. But 10-10 to 1-3. We're looking for something to get excited about, to be truthful.
I was excited.
Well, wait till half time. The Latvian dancers will be back. They're back.
10-10 to 1-3. And in this year where percentage is so important, with so many teams so close together. We Kevin Sheedy talked about a defeat the other day, almost saying, well, look, we got out of it because we didn't lose much percentage. Gee, David Parkin will be really worried about that scoreline, because the Blues are going to miss plenty today unless they get back into this match. They're 9-70.
Well, I'm just staggered about the lack of competitiveness from Carlton. We went through their side before the match, and on paper, it's as good a side as they could probably muster. There aren't too many to come back into this side, and boy, on their reputations, it's a premiership-looking side, but on their work rate to date, it's a cellar dweller job.
Ratton to Brown, in towards half forward. Dunkley there again to affect the spoil, and he does it very well. Dyson chips wide, again towards Lewis in the boundary line. Lewis trapped it nicely, then goes in again with Brown and Manton and co. Kudafiti's waiting over the top. They lock them there and grant two.
The heat's certainly a factor, but I'm not sure it is as big a factor at the present time, maybe a psychological one, but we've had a pretty hot summer also. We've had a very hot autumn. Last week we had about 4 or 5 days in a row of 26 degrees, and that's exactly the temperature up here today.
Look at Crespo. Gets through and gains valuable meterage. McKay has taken over the line. Well, it could become a factor in the third quarter, but certainly not in the first quarter or the second.
I'm just wondering whether they've just changed their plan and Piker's going to come off at half-time.
He's booted one so far. That was earlier in this quarter. He's had a couple of shots at goal. Brown couldn't take it. O'Loughlin slaps it straight to Allen, who gives it to Bradley. Thought about Williams, but now kicks longer. Down towards half. Dunkley goes straight into the umpire, and on his bottom he's able to make a decision. And quite frankly, did it very well. Kernahan in towards full forward, and White takes the mark.
Not a bad bump.
Dunkley's still down, is he? In the meantime, White takes the mark. There he goes. That was umpire Mark Prince. You think, being an optometrist, he might have seen what was coming.
Not in the back of his head, Sandy.
Not touching that.
Tell you what, he'll be in Carlton's best players after that, the way they're going.
You're a hard man. Let's see what White can do. This for the Blues' second goal of the match. It's taken a long, long time, but he's got it. So Adam White gets his first, and the Blues' second. White just playing his third game. 2-3, plays 10-10.
They needed some assistance from the umpire to get that goal. Even the umpires are bored at the present time. They want to lift. They're prepared to do their bit. And umpire Prince, you've shown the example. Now it's up to a couple of Carlton players to follow suit. Good shepherd, wasn't it?
10-10 to 2-3. So the Blues with a late goal in the second term. After a bit of fortune, let's hope that Dunkley's 100%. Bradley to Sexton, but Kernahan is out from the foot. Cool to play on. White has just kicked the goal a moment ago. Goes for goal. Good kick. He's got it. We've got to start from somewhere, and the Blues have kicked 2 goals in 30 seconds at 10-10 to 3-3.
But this is the reality of this game. This ground. Just have a look how easily they kick the goal. Kern, and quick possession, gets the ball running, and from inside the square, Adam White has converted. So it makes you wonder why Carlton has been trying to chip the ball around and try to find a short option, when clearly they just win the ball out of the centre, which they haven't been able to do, and go straight to goal.
49 points the margin. The Blues are out again. This time it's Williams with a long bomb to half forward. Sydney should tie up at the back. It's Dyson goes over the top to Roos. Another one to Lewis, and they're out of trouble. Dale Lewis tucks it under his arm, then floats it up towards the half forward line. Some pushing and shoving, which the umpire allows to go on. So Kelly soccers off the ground down towards O'Brien. He comes to clash with Sexton, who shrugs one tackle, gives the hand pass back to Ratton. Another one to Kudafidis. And the defence stands strong for the moment. In towards the middle of the ground. White could play on. He's lost the football. Dunkley's hand pass is short, but it's okay. Comes wide towards Maxfield. He shepherds for King. King gets caught. Pushes the ball in towards the middle. It's going to come back though. Free kick to Stewie Maxfield.
Nash paid the free kick to Maxfield. Called player advantage. No advantage, so brought it back.
Roos likes kicking goal.
Generally, mark of the day has some aerial aspect in it, but this is as tough a mark as you would hope to complete. And that was an absolute beauty, wasn't it?
Mark Moore written all over.
Bold, Shane.
Roos for goal. For number 2, and he's won it. 11-10. Plays 3-3.
I thought it was more Ian Healy than Mark Moore, but nevertheless, I'm not sure they can kick as well as Paul Roos. He's just doing his usual trick, running off that half-back line. And importantly, when he runs, the Swans do look for him, and they try to make that move impact even more by just continually pinpointing it to him. And we see now Kernan at the centre half forward. He's dragged Dumping with it.
Great support here for the Swans. Huge lead just before half-time, 11 goals to 3. Stafford out of the centre. Cranswell away. Could go all the way. He's at 50. Wobbly old kick, but wobbly through. Through the Cranswell. 12 for the Swans. And that stinks because Carlton got 2 goals in half a minute from 5. And they've just got the legs back to where it was.
Yeah, Stafford once again winning the tap, and Creswell, they're just going forward. Brad Pearce looks to be coming off the ground with an injury, and if it's good enough for Steve Kernan to do helicopter goals for the last decade, it's good enough for Darren Creswell, and he is a real force in this game now. Pearce injured, and I'm sure we'll get a report from Dipper very shortly.
It's the last thing Carlton wants. Back in the middle once again. This time Williams tries to thread it, but it's O'Loughlin who intercepts, then applies the tackle well on Allen. Orchard at the bottom of the pack, Ratton there also. Another bounce virtually still in the middle. Pearce, we just saw leave the ground. How is he, Dipper? What's his problem?
As you picked that up, he's been in a bit of trouble for the last 4 or 5 minutes. Spaulding's now gone to full forward. It looks like he's hurt the knee, which is, well, of course he had an operation on last year sometimes. So keeping up with that one.
Still in the centre. Bradley with the blood rule by the looks of things.
It's been interesting watching Carlton, watching the Swans, the way they set up at each centre bounce. They drop a couple of extra players down just to mill around the goal square, trying to block up that quick kick out of the centre. And even if Carlton have won it out of there, they've just rebounded. They do play that sort of rugby-type football, win the ball across half-back or even deeper, and then sweep it wide, and then as soon as they can get it down the middle of the ground with long kicks into a very open forward line. Obviously, if they've got spare men, Carlton have got spare men, but they've tended to have their men further up the ground. So if there's a quick kick from the middle, you've still got Plugger Lockett down there, one out.
And leading the way is their captain, Paul Kelly. This is O'Loughlin, somewhat lackily. And over the line.
Somewhat.
Well, Carlton, if they were looking forward to the quarter-time break, will certainly be looking forward to half-time. They've kicked a couple of goals in this term, 2 late ones from Adam White. But apart from that, the cupboard has been bare. Stafford floating in front, wins it. Dyson beats Murphy. Hand pass put Mix under a bit of pressure, but he was equal to the task to tap it on to Stafford. Goes wide. A little 360 to King. Almost runs into his own man before getting it back to Stafford. That's okay. This is Wolf with his new club, Rowan Wolf. Brown keeps it in play. Koutafidis to McKay. And McKay's kick is too wide for Murphy. And that really does typify Carlton's day at the office so far.
Pretty smart handball of Clinton Kings getting it back to Greg Stafford just a couple of seconds ago. Good composure under enormous pressure.
The kick from Nix up towards half forward. Rowan Wolf does the roaming. 65 metres out. He passes in towards centre half forward. Look out, O'Loughlin's there, and he's danger. O'Loughlin should chip, and he does. Too late. The siren has got no goal. It won't count. It will not count. It's half time here at the SCG. Sydney fans jubilant. Carlton fans no doubt somewhat shell-shocked. Here we go then. The second half at the SCG. It's the home side leading by 61 points. Stafford who wins it. They rip it out of the middle through Kelly. Captain Kelly towards O'Brien. Couldn't take the mark at half forward. It's shoveled towards Lockett. Tried to give the hand pass out. It was partly smothered. May get another opportunity now. Still in the forward line. Picked up by Orchard. Gets the hand pass away to Lewis. Lewis! Sensational! Oh, what a start. How do you stop this very fast train called Sydney?
this was just one of the highlights of the game. Dale Lewis's performance. He was flattened there. Just track him now. There's a little bit of a punch forward from Orchard. One on the left hand, onto his not preferred side, and just snapped truly. Well, not only can he play tennis, he really has blossomed as a player in the last couple of years. Pretty handy golfer as well, Sam. He plays off about 4. Very talented footballer.
Speaking of 4, that's how many goals he's kicked. 13-3. He's actually leading Carlton personally at the moment. Kelly gets it from Creswell. Here's another shot for goal, and it's a behind. Well, nothing much has changed after 20 minutes in the change rooms. It's as if we're exactly back to where we were in the first half.
They move as a unit, the Swans forward line. As soon as they see a fast break coming, every player just moves up the ground, not necessarily for the lead. They're just opening up the goal mouth and hoping that Kelly can convert.
Awkward kick by Silvani, got to centre wing. Stafford pushes inside. Kinnear's been impressive, 39. Ratton, we know he'll keep going. Stafford was able to take it away from Bradley. Bradley hands and knees out to Allen. Allen awkwardly gets the ball onto his boot. Seymour front spot. Kudafiti's coming in. Murphy bursts the line. He's a good goal kicker. Handball out wide. Now here's a chance. Whitnell belts it to Greg Williams, who kicks his second goal for the match. They had numbers there, Carlton. Wide. They had a couple loose. 4-3 to 13-11. 27-89.
And it's difficult, as all footballers would know, and all spectators that go to interstate venues where there is only the crowd supporting one side. You've got to generate your own enthusiasm, and when you're so far down, it may well be a facade, but it's important that you do go the extra yard and try and regroup after a goal and pat each other on the back, just to build on any positives that are happening for you.
O'Loughlin out of the middle. Beats a couple, then bends it in towards half forward. The defence has been well and truly tested today, and they've been belted. Hamill's kick gathers little distance. Stafford comes wide to Creswell. Plenty of time, plenty of room. Darren Creswell looks down inside 50 once again. O'Brien was the target. Lewis is there also, lurking as ever. Still with Lewis. Taken out of it now. Manton towards the boundary line. Keeps it in play. The big man shrugs a tackle, but cops one. Sexton, he's hurt behind play as he finds Allen. Sexton appears to be in trouble. We'll keep an eye on him as Williams marks on centre wing. Coming home to play against his old club.
Sexton still struggling down in defence well, it may just simply be a bruised shoulder or a bruised forearm, but he's certainly in a bit of pain.
Ruse, Lewis a target. Manton hard at him. Brown back to Williams. Handball to Brown. Brown was on his knees. Lewis, good tackle. Brown. Going to be a bounce. Just feel that Carlton are manning up now, at least one-on-one, committing themselves. But so far behind. There's a Sexton incident a moment ago. O'Brien with a kipping shoulder. And Sexton able to ride it, but he's felt it a bit since. Lewis, Ratton onto him. And again a bounce. 13 goals to 4, and one of the remarkable statistics is that Tony Lockett has kicked just one of those 13 goals.
And without being flippant, Bruce, I would think that Rodney Eade would be just at the present time considering when to take Tony Lockett off the ground.
Well, this is about the time he was bringing him on, wasn't it, in the first 2 games, certainly in the opening game, 8 minutes into the third quarter, and then at half-time the other. Bradley's free kick. Advantage given to White. White centering ball, neat kick off the boot to Whitnell. So just a few signs for the Blues. They've got to get something out of this wreck. That's a bad handball. McKay left it behind. Whitnell controlled that one a little bit better. Christou stood his ground courageously. He's a lovely kick, Christou, and he's got Sexton wide, and that's the way he's going. Stafford's trying to get back and does, and now free kick against Stafford. Is it going to Sexton?
Yeah, signalled high contact, but I couldn't see it clearly. It certainly looked soft from this distance, but Mark Prince was a lot closer than I am. So, and here we see it again. Yeah, well, certainly Stafford's only intention was to spoil. I'd say that's a soft free kick.
Sexton right to the goal. Kernahan's got a couple of grabs. Not paid, yes. No, he's not going to pay. He's going to bounce it, I think, the umpire.
Yeah, I'm not sure he got the first grab, Bruce.
Fair enough. He's not complaining too much. Carlton captain. Stafford, will they concede here? The Swans, they do, are behind.
Just getting back to the Lockett issue, I would think it would only take 3 or 4 goals without Carlton replying for him to come off the ground. Here's that disputed mark. Well, there's a couple of players got it. Maybe Steve Kernan could have made a case for himself, but nevertheless it wasn't paid.
Dyson's kick in. Murphy and Bradley are there for Carlton. They combine. Murphy kicks from 50 metres. A long high ball in towards full forward. Stafford was trying to do the roving work here. Cooter is caught. Loses the football. The defence should tidy up. It's left to the big man. He ambles away, Greg Stafford. Then passes out wide on the left foot. Looks good too as he gives it to Orchard. And young Orchard bounces his way across the half-back flank. Has a couple. Now looks down towards left half forward. O'Loughlin streaking away from Milhanna. Has only got to keep the ball in play. Does so. But Hanna locks him up. Not before he gives it to O'Brien. O'Loughlin clean bowled. Clinton King a chance. Gives it back again. Close to the boundary line. Still there is King. Keeps it inside and does well. Lewis in towards Carey. Take it high. Must be free kick. Stephen Carey from 40 metres. And David Parkin. Gee, what must he be thinking?
And once again, Dale Lewis involved in the action, the creative aspects of the game, and Stephen Carey back in the side today after starting pretty well this season at centre-half forward, and he is going to be a force this season.
Kicking from 40, 45-degree angle. Another nail goes into Carlton coffin. Carey gets his first, and he joins that long list of goal kickers. And Sydney just marked on 14-11, plays 4-4.
Let's have a look at this big man. We saw a bit of him last season, but he wasn't playing in their grand final side. He really has stepped up a notch. And big things.
Really, isn't it?
Yes, he is. Big things expected of the young guy.
10-7 the difference. 14-11 to 4-4. Stafford, Allen. Stafford's had a fantastic game. So's Dale Lewis, who got the high one. Orchard gets it back from Creswell. Advantage paid for Sydney. Orchard can balance up and then direct to full forward. Lockett may get into the action here. No, couldn't quite get a run at it. Hamill courageously takes the mark and then boots the ball to Williams, who'll have Bradley running for him. Probably use the faster legs. No, decides to go himself with a couple of bounces. So Greg Williams away and then directs cleverly to Allen. Now Allen's got a couple of wide plays. He went wider than Bradley and went to Murphy. Murphy to full forward. Koutafidis and getting rid of his opponent, and a free kick against Koutafidis. Going to Seymour. It was a good call. There's a call, Chris. Seymour away. Carey got a bad bounce. Sexton. Handball okay to Brown. Brown at centre wing. High ball to centre half forward. Can Sporting get into the action? Oh, Seymour was terrific then. Ratton not as strong as we'd normally see him. Good play by Orchard. Taken by Lewis. High on call. Williams' handball was low. Taken by Ratton. Ratton 50 metres out. Directs to centre half forward and finds Whitnell. 17-year-old. A couple out there today. Kinnear at one end and Whitnell at the other. Made a great debut at the start of the year against Essendon, Koutafidis and Seymour.
Free kick then, he obviously just threw Seymour out of the way and took the mark. That's a free kick for holding him in.
He's a good kick, Whitnell, and he has put that one through for a goal. Whitnell's first, the Blues get their fifth. It's still a 10-goal game though. It's 14-11 to 5-4.
And here we'll just see Dale Lewis perhaps could have got a free kick there, but Williams' handball just being mopped up by Brett Ratton, and the mark and goal was from the youngster.
Can Carlton break the 10-goal deficit barrier? Let's see what happens from the middle this time. It's Allen who wins it. Dyson uses strength, held onto it for a long time, and Ratton rips him to the ground. Maxfield likes it on the left foot. Away goes Stewie Maxfield. Straight towards goal. Madden gets back to give chase and takes it. Or at least gets a touch on the line for one run.
And that electrifying pace of Maxfield on show once again on that occasion, I think was really important in the first 10 or 15 minutes. of the game when he broke it up. And there's Dale Lewis. Well, it's almost a Bermuda Triangle for Dale Lewis, that exact position, because he copped a coat hanger early and then just a little smack on the chops there.
Can do there. Lewis decides against it, and he does fly again. Kelly couldn't take it. Opens the door for Hamill, who gets a hurried kick wide. Roos leads in the race. Boundary line may beat him. Kicked a couple of goals in the second term. He's quite content to see that one over for another throw-in.
Isn't it strange how backmen often get the fumbles just around that boundary line? The ball just happens to go out of bounds, John.
He did it very, very well, though, didn't he, Jared? He was quite happy to see it go over.
Pass master at it. Stafford looking for front spot. Brown, Orchard on his hammer. Brown's hand pass finds Bradley. Straight up in the air goes the 251 gamer. Lewis stands his ground. King gets caught by Brown, gives the tackle away and gives it to Bradley. This is Hamill. Short. Allen couldn't take it cleanly. Orchard gets him. Should be Pink. No. Hamill again, but only for a moment. Just the relentless pressure of Sydney Telling. King is clear. He looks towards Lockett. Out comes the champ. One grab. Couldn't take it. Christou claimed by Maxwell. McKay comes over the top. Lockett also. And that's a signal for a bounce if ever there was one. .40 metres out from the Sydney scoring zone. Carey doing the ruck work. Ratton there also for Carlton. Sexton appears to have recovered. Floats it high. Maxfield in with strength. This is Orchard. Gets claimed, but wobbles it down towards Lockett. Needs someone going past. And he gets it in Lockett, another goal. A brute strength and skill of Lockett. Lockett gets his first.
And Orchard's pace also a factor in this match. He really has broken up the play a number of times. Not many people putting their hand up to take Clover on head on, and you wouldn't blame them in that scenario. But it didn't look good. Michael Lofton, a very nice guy.
Well, they're celebrating here, and why not? Nearly a sellout. Must be close to 40,000 people. 15-12 to 5-4. Stafford and Allen. Stafford won it again. Creswell to full forward. Lockett over the top. Koutafidis, who's been at both ends of the ground. Out wide. Brown's got it. Bradley runs for him. Finds him. Should go handball over the top. Does. Good play. Murphy. Long handball to Allen. Not sure if that's the right option, though. Allen's got a fair bit of time to come around and kick to Sporting in the pocket. Sporting under pressure from Seymour. Hardly put a foot wrong in this defence. Dunkley crushed as he kicks the ball, taken by Murphy, tries a check side kick and kicks it behind. Point to Murphy. 15-12, 5-5. Troy Cook's come onto the ground.
We saw that handball option just outside the 50-metre line there by Justin Murphy to Allen. And there's nothing more frustrating when you're a full forward trying to time your lead when fellows are mucking around with the ball just outside 50 when they should be driving it in long to you.
Dyson wide. Whitnell's got hold of it. Round his body. Back to centre half forward. Seymour's belt away. Kernahan hooks it back. Williams good chance. So Roos gets back. Yes, it took a long time to get to Greg. Roos able to pull it over the line. Remarkable. There's Kernahan. Roos remarkable because when he first came to Sydney, I think a lot of us thought he was close to the end at 31. He's playing such great football 2 years later. Looks like he could go on for another year or two at least.
His last year in particular, the finals campaign, will long be remembered. Lewis unable to take the mark, but he's quick to apply the pressure. Hamill lost it and will go again. Does so towards Whitnell. He gets claimed, almost throws it out. I think his target initially was Ange Christou. Here's Koutafidis from 50 metres. Kouta's had a quiet day to say the least. There's no one at home. It's all Sydney, and guess who will take the hand pass? Paul Roos is away. Orchard is running, and he loves to run this Orchard. He's on the outer side. He bounces his way down the middle. He's had two. Maxwell does the shepherding. He goes again. Takes on White and beats him. Kick a sensational goal. No, too late. Dropped too far. And Penn.
No, he actually had the old prior opportunity against Sandy and didn't take it.
Prior opportunity. It's the only one of the classic novels, isn't it? In towards centre wing and Koutafidis marks. That all starts again now for Carlton. There's Kernahan down on centre wing, kicking in towards half forward. Could have been some interference there. It will go the way of Sydney. And the big man, Greg Stafford, should take it.
I think he had more in place, don't you? He had a while.
Plenty of time. Not sure Big Tony's all that thrilled. I'll tell you what, though, if he had have converted, it would have been one of the goals of the year.
No doubt about that. Here's O'Loughlin on the outer side, taking it from Nix. O'Loughlin chipping in towards the 50, and this time in front is Sexton to take a timely mark. He's been one of Carlton's most reliable defenders in recent times, but the whole defence has felt the full effect of Sydney's forward thrust today. Dunkley back towards half forward, but straight down the throat of Hamill.
So Hamill on the defensive side of the centre square, ordinary kick. Williams force wide, Dyson and Dunkley with him, and then Kernahan on a boundary throw in. 10 forward, the 11 AM host, great fan of Carlton, Adelaide girl who loves the Blues, so she couldn't really lose today. Living in Sydney and also supporting the Swans when they don't play Carlton. So Cook's kick, Kinnear and Sexton. Sexton's handball was good to Mackay. He's had a quiet day, Andrew. Away he goes and gets good distance to Kernahan. That's a great kick. Whitnell comes across from the front. Kernahan goes to ground. Dunkley, they've just got so much time on this last line of defence. To Roos, he won't rush it. Inboard, well done, good hands. Beautifully played, Sydney. Ball and work again from Maxwell, and then delivers into the centre. Stafford's up. Quick throw from Kelly. Could pick this. Likes the occasion. It's going to go close.
What about the roar when Cook got hold of the ball?
Well, Derek Kickett's here today watching this game. The shades off.
Chip off the old block.
Yeah.
And Rowan Wharf doing some good work coming out of defence there, and along with Seymour, they've been giving the Swans a tremendous drive.
Here's Wharf playing his first game with his new club. Hannah now into the middle, and Brown has White if he needs him on one side. Elects Allen back to White. He may get caught. He does, but he gets the kick just over the head of Dunkley. Murphy should goal, although it's partly smothered off the boot, and well done too. A behind is the end result. As Henry Lawson led the Australian pace attack for a number of years, and turned his hand to coaching. Jeff Lawson enjoys his Aussie rules.
He's been a really entrenched Swan supporter now for many, many years.
Yeah. Great sportsman, great sports lover. Carey sets himself to spoil. He does. Sexton will hope to do the tidying up and give it to Christou. Some holding on, said the umpire. The advantage may be paid here to Bradley, off to Williams. It is. Murphy needs a kind bounce. Had it spent just a little too soon. Nix is trying to close him out. Can't do so. Whitnell over the top. He goes. Matt Clappe a snap. Can't bend it back far enough. It's another behind. 6.5 minutes remaining in this third term, and Carlton making no real impression on the scoreboard. Stafford offers the lead. Big man needs it to sit and he'll be okay. Does it nicely. Gives it away to Wharf, who runs across centre wing. Has a couple of bounces. Whitnell still chasing. Wharf's kick is not overly pretty off the boot. Goes down towards Lockett. He needs help. Roos has it taken out of his hands. Lockett applies the tackle. Hamill kicks back towards centre wing. Now Whitnell is slow to get a start and opens the door for Wharf, and he beats a couple. Well done towards Kelly. Back to Wharf again. They've got him in a headlock almost. And there'll be a bounce on centre wing.
And Sandy, there has been a number of calls to the station from Carlton supporters, but unfortunately the Latvian dancers won't be able to come on and finish the last quarter.
You're a hard man.
10-goal game. The Swans cruising. Christou over the top. Belt tonight. The dipper. Throws it back to the man who throws it in. Such a shy fellow, Dippy. Must have hated that. Centre wing. that shrinking violet that he is. Creswell kicks back the half forward. Cooter's got hold of it. So Roos had run Koutafidis right back into the fence. Koutafidis kicked to centre wing. Murphy getting a bit of the footy. Well played to Williams. Back to Murphy. Murphy, long ball. Kernahan, he sits it up well for him. And he's taken a beauty. It's a good kick by Murphy. Gave Kernahan's height advantage the edge there by kicking the ball high and just over Dunkley, giving Dunkley no run at it at all. Kernahan took a very clever mark. Should goal. You've always got to be a bit careful with sticks. He's kicked a lot, I know, but a few of those 719 before this one have been a bit scary. And that one's through. A goal for the Blues. So Carlton level in this quarter, basically. They've kicked 3-5 to 3-3. It's 15-13 to 6-8.
We'll have another look at this goal develop here with Williams getting it on to Murphy. But it has been interesting following the goal-kicking career of Stephen Kernahan, because I can remember playing against him many years ago in a State of Origin match where he kicked 10, and his kicking was just so superb. There was never any question early in his career, but he did develop the helicopter late.
103 plays at 44. So Kernahan gets his first for the match. It's back in the centre. In fact, it's rapidly out of the centre, courtesy of Kelly. Down towards the forward line. Out comes Lockett, with him Silvani. Lockett controls it well. He pushes it back. King intercepts nicely. Goes back to O'Brien. Hurriedly onto the right foot. He chips in towards Maxfield. Couldn't take it cleanly. Brantley bursts through the back line and defends, going back towards the centre. And number 3 in line there was Kevin Dyson. Usually delivers it extremely well. Dyson with King at the back. Can't take the mark but recovers well. First one way, then the other, in towards right half forward. Cook was there. O'Loughlin is there. They pounce over the top. Hannah is one. Stafford stays out. The big man, he does the roving work. Chips in towards half forward and the mark taken by O'Brien. And a point.
He's a sneaky little forward pocket, Craig O'Brien. He allowed his man to go up to the contest, and he just backpedaled into the space, hoping that the Swans would turn the ball or win the ball back. There was a turnover, and Stafford, you're just not used to having big men show such skills, and you've got the likes of McKernan now and Stafford with great foot skills.
O'Brien hops for another one for Sydney. His second. Both have come from that end of the ground. And Sydney record their 16th. 16-13 plays Carlton 6-8.
We might just be able to catch Craig O'Brien just dropping off the pace here, as the players there just continuing to mill around. And you see O'Brien just running back towards the space. And he's a talented player with his feet, isn't he, Stafford, Bruce?
Magnificent kick. He's so clever. In close too, isn't he? I mean, he can kick the ball laterally.
He's doing pretty well at this caper too.
16-13 to 6-8. We've got so many promising big men in the game at the moment. More than promising, some of them have already been there, like McKernan, Dyson, Creswell to Kelly. How many times has that happened today? Sydney just running, Ratton holds him up. They want 50, but not there. Stafford leads for Kelly. Not too often you see Kelly stationary on a footy field, do you? 14-3. Well, he's stationary just for the moment. Kicks the ball to half forward. Was he looking for Lewis? Lewis working for him. It's got right towards the pocket. Lewis sits, waits, allows the ball to run away. Did it cleverly, actually.
Very clever. I mean, Lewis, Sexton thought he was going to take possession of the footy, so as soon as he touched it, he tackled him, and Lewis didn't take possession, so he got a free kick for holding the man.
Played superbly, Lewis. Kick inside, too far for O'Brien. Hannah should mop up to Greg Williams, who's had quite a bit of the footy. Beautiful kick across to Silvani. Stephen will be pleased that Lockett's only kicked the one, but Lockett's been effective. Kernahan on a long lead. Handball back to Ratton. Blues trying hard, but the smother. Kelly's handball was terrific. And here's the set-up again. Creswell through the centre.
Has a look down to the forward line. Wants O'Brien. He's there with Hamill. Hamill first to recover, and he's quite happy to slap it over the boundary. Another throw in, but it's deep in Sydney's attacking zone. Couple of minutes remaining in this third term. Stafford, Sexton, Sexton now front spot, gets one hand to it. Williams there also tries to farm it out and does so. Just chipping it probably 15 metres. He wanted Rat, but he's going to lose it. Picked up by Orchard and kicked towards Carey and also Lewis. The latter is first to recover and he's got marvellous support. O'Brien should goal from here. 47 metres. He heads for home and bang, there's another one. 3 goals to Craig O'Brien and 17 to Sydney.
Well, it was a great goal to Craig O'Brien and well set up by the Swans forward line. A little bit of a scrubber kick up in the air, but once again we see them winning the loose ball. Lewis just a nice flip up, and O'Brien kicks it over Tony Lockett's head. And just having a look at the body language on Plugger, he is sick and tired of being the dummy, leading out players kicking it over his head.
Look at them celebrating. You be careful who you call a dummy.
Yes,
big player.
Don't take it the wrong way, Plugger, but he certainly has been the dummy full forward today with so many players kicking the ball over his head and kicking it successfully.
Bradley's high ball. Good take by Clappe. Bradley froze. Not sure, he almost disorientated. Cook's hands were terrific. Roos kick out wide, wanting the boundary line. They might have to run for it. It's going to take a long time. It won't get there. Lewis is after it. Manton's after Lewis. Lewis will go back to Roos. He does. Roos will kick it to Stafford. That's about the only mistake Paul's made all day, and taken by Sexton. It's been a consummate performance by the Swans. Sexton's kick, Koutafidis, Brown, brought to ground, no. Free kick, Koutafidis cleverly from Clappe, then centres the ball. Murphy kept his eye on it, coming to ground. Whitnell will probably use Bradley. Bradley around the body. Kernahan one out with Dunkley. Dunkley works to the front, plays it to Seymour. He's got Maxfield, he's got Creswell. Now Creswell's got Maxfield. Creswell's going to run away and draw Bradley to him and then come back inside and kick the ball to Nix. Good kick. They play it beautifully, don't they? Nix 50 metres out off the side of the boot. Well, off the side of the boot from behind. Not too far away. It's exciting to watch. 17 goals to 6 at the moment. And all these fans that are here, you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to come back when they play here next time.
Kick back into play. Creswell late. Williams could have been shoved in the back. Creswell plays on. All Sydney. He's got a couple of options. Looks towards O'Brien in the pocket. Lockett does the shepherding. O'Brien snaps. Can he kick a miracle goal? They can do no wrong. 4 to Craig O'Brien. 3 in this term and all look back into the ground. 18-14 plays 6-8.
Like those old days, Gerard, when you guys had huge wins up here. What 87 was it?
In 87, I think there were 3 wins in a row where
30 goals,
almost 200 points. But it's difficult to know what to take from this loss to Carlton. I mean, they're now 2 and 4.
You know, the percentage loss too. They're going to go from about 103 to 88 or something. You know, even less, I think.
I've been a pretty strong fan of their chances for winning a premiership this season, but having a look at it now, they may struggle to make the 8.
The chant goes up again as Grant swings it across Tony Lockett. He'll be the dummy no more. He leads out and he's got it, but he needs help. Gets it in the form of Stafford. Look at the control by the big man. Up to Maxfield. Stewie Maxfield under pressure. Kicks it high and wide. And this time out of bounds on the full.
Stafford's good, isn't he?
Oh, just an athlete at work, isn't he?
Talented, very talented with the skill department.
And tough. Christie will have the last pick of the quarter. It's going to be a long afternoon now for Carlton. Well, let's see if Carlton can put some respectability back into this scoreboard, or will Sydney march on their merry way? Carey doing the ruck work. It passes Cook. It's taken by Lewis, who's been very good today. Still in the middle. A hurried kick is by Adam White. Down towards Koutafidis. Roos affects the spoil. May have given away the free kick in the process.
Free kick in the middle of the ground. Paid by Mark Nash.
Back to Dale Lewis. By the looks of things. Smack in the centre, so the left footer goes in towards half forward. Bit of pushing and shoving there. No mark taken by Kinnear. He tried hard. Stafford gets a deft little chip. Kinnear again gets the hand pass away. Still going is the youngster and eventually gives it towards King. He threads it through the eye of a needle to Orchard, who bounces it towards goal and puts through one behind. So the one-way traffic would appear continues, and Earl Spalding certainly not enjoying his 100th game for Carlton.
The Duke played 209 all up. Currently sitting it out on the bench. Christie. In a game like this, when this happens, the sting is taken out of particularly the final quarter. A ruse, a good spoil. Dunkley doing the roving work almost. Gets it down towards Nix. He's ridden into the ground. Could have almost been pinged. Koutafidis, Clappe, short, in towards half forward. Williams will mark. Kicked the first goal for Carlton. And they themselves have been few and far between against his old club. And, his old followers giving him around to the kitchen.
Now, that's interesting. Wouldn't normally allow the trainer to come out and do that unless he was in the immediate vicinity.
Williams kicking from just inside 40. Angle shouldn't hurt him. The ironical cheers, you can guess what's happened. He's hit the woodwork.
He's had over 20 possessions, Greg Williams. Kicked 2. Probably his last game at the Sydney Cricket Ground. He made it his own, along with the bloke sitting alongside us today in those heady days in the mid to late 80s. Kick towards centre wing. Carlton have got numbers here. Clappe to Mackay to Sexton. Could take Koutafidis, but he just hasn't done enough. And he's one of the problems for the Blues this year. So much expected of Kouta. Such a match winner. Good take by Murphy, who's probably been, if you can find something out of Carlton in the second half, he's been the one that's given them a bit of spark up forward. It's a good kick, Murphy. It'll give him a great chance from here to goal. So Glenn Manton injured by the look of it. Carlton will be down to the bare bones. Sporting forced to come back on the ground. Murphy 45 metres out. Across the face, so it's not happening at all. And are behind. They crawl up to 6 goals 10 to 18-15. Dyson short to Nix. Nix short to Lewis. He set the match up early, Lewis, along with Kelly and Creswell in that opening term. Speaking of Creswell, he kicked the first couple of goals in the match. Allen missed it. Cook forward, good take. Seymour, and then takes them on and then goes very short to Stafford. It was a hard ball. Seymour goes again and then pushes the ball forward to the pocket and a boundary throw in. Good player, Brad Seymour. Grew with Huskus last year, didn't he, as a defender? We've seen Huskus and his heroics at Port Adelaide in the first few weeks of this season. It's been a superb performance by Sydney today. They are right back on track where they left off in 1996.
Stafford contesting, gave a little bit of a shove. Brown, been quiet. Heads to the wide open spaces, the outer side, the shadow of the light stand. And that ball just sits there. It'll be all Sydney. Orchard will take it and give it back again. They can run it down towards the 50, inside 50. Silvani leaves Stafford and takes the mark unopposed. Comes towards half-back. Spalding was his target. Fisted away by Carey. Waiting down was Sexton. Williams still running those legs, pumping away, but he'll be tired now as Seymour intercepts and pushes it over the line. Talk about the walking wounded of Carlton. The latest casualty there is Manton. A report from Dipper shortly, but in the meantime the throw in on centre wing. Carey a little too far underneath it, taken away by Allen in towards Kernahan, took his eye off the ball for a moment, and so the younger forward in Lance Whitnell comes over the top to take the mark. Coming back after a bag of 7 in the reserves. Whitnell kicking from just outside forward, almost directly in front. He starts that right too. Now, Dipper, you've been down there with the Carlton boys, Manton.
Yes, Andy, looks like he's got a twisted ankle. The doctors assured me of that. He's in a bit of pain. They're just going to ice it up now. Not good news for Carlton.
Kevin Dyson will bring it back in. Keep running.
No one coming at him. The nearest one is Williams, and he's 25 metres away. Eventually, Christou does, but by the time he gets there, it's down to Carey on centre wing and belted over the line. Throw in on the outer side. Sydney fans delirious. Full house. They have been somewhat starved of football in the opening half of the season here at the SCG, so they're certainly making the most of this game this afternoon. They do have a number of home games in the latter half. McKay's hand pass just slightly astray. Tackle was solid, and the ball goes to ground. We'll have a bounce. Even the crowd has gone somewhat hushed now. King's hand pass, partly smothered. The youngster goes again. Socked by Cook, but straight to Brown. He tumbles a punt up towards the half-forward line. Wanted Koutafidis, but was well spoiled. Pushed out, it was Clappo, but fairly. Ruse now, but Sitz he'll be in business. Just shovels it along towards Shannon Brown, who under pressure kicks out of bounds on the full. So it'll be Christou who'll bring it back into play.
Between half-back and centre wing. Neat kick, gets good distance. Kernahan and Koutafidis, the flyers for the Blues. Kernahan with an opportunity from 50. Good kick off the boot. Going to be close. I think he's got it. He has. 2 second-half goals for Stephen Kernahan. It's been a sedate opening to the final term by both teams. 18-15 to 7-11. So a good individual effort here by the captain, the 33-year-old who hasn't played much footy this year. Just got to find something to take home, don't they, from the wreck? (7-11 to 18-15) in the final term here. 70 points the difference. Carey doing the ruck work because Stafford's playing at full forward with Lockett off the ground. Stafford did go forward late in the match too against Hawthorn last week. Dunkley tries a tie poke. Williams, good hands. Brown out wide, wanting Whitnell. Seymour, well done. To Ruse, to Grant. He's had a fairly quiet day. He's been on the interchange for a lot of it. Kelly was magnificent in the opening half when things were pretty hot. Cook. Back to Grant. Grant sizes up an option or two. Floating kick not good, so he'd be disappointed with that. He kicked one out of bounds in the fall a moment ago. Kick into the centre. Oh, Longman was a good spoil on Clappe. Clappe kept his head and kicks the ball forward.
Towards Kernahan, it bounces off his chest. Dunkley's the first to recover. Not a pretty kick, but it also bounces off the chest of Koutafidis. Nick's hand pass over the top goes to Clappe. He's ripped away from the ball. Beautifully controlled by King. Off to Cook. Sydney threatening here to go forward again. The youngster gives it to the old weary legs of Paul Ruse, but they're still pumping. They're still going. King back to Ruse. Has a look down towards the forward line. Puts them inside 50. Effortless mark taken by Darren Preston. No opposition. Spears it in towards O'Brien. Oh, how's that for fancy work from Craig O'Brien? Finish it off with a goal. O'Brien has 5. And Sydney record their 19th. 19-15 plays 7-11.
And this is just a little bit of a sideshow here from Craig O'Brien. Just thought he'd just spin around a thrippy bit. It made up for a mark that he should have taken, and he knows that. He's got the result. 5 goals is a pretty good day in anybody's language.
He does kick 5 or nothing a lot, doesn't he?
Yes,
Got 5 against St Kilda. 15 goals for O'Brien for the year, and a couple of 5s in that lot. So he's a bit all or nothing, and today he's been everything after half-time.
The good thing is, though, that when Lockett hasn't fired, he has.
So often. So Carey doing the ruck work with Allen. Sydney maintaining their huge lead here. Carey goes early. Bouncing ball. Sexton pushes the ball forward. 2 half forward. Dunkley hard at it against Koutafidis. And Dunkley running it over. And Kouta second there, as he's been a bit today. Coming off Orchard, he's been good. Maxwell coming on. There's Manton. with that ankle problem. Orchard 9 kicks 4 handballs, so he's done well. He's run the ball a lot. Grant running it towards the line. Boundary throw in. 19-15 to 7 goals 11. The score here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Allen looks for Williams. Got cut off by Dunkley. And this will be interesting. Looking for O'Loughlin or anybody. Oh, he's skillful, O'Loughlin. Hannah with him. O'Loughlin still with a chance. Blues with the weight of numbers in the end with Ratton. And it's going to be a bounce. Sun still streaming down on this ground.
John, just with that player of Michael O'Loughlin's skill, when he was playing the ball to himself there and just pushing in front of him, do you consider that to be in possession?
No.
Cook taken by Christo. And there'll be free kick. It'll come back.
It's coming off O'Loughlin. Sandy Orchard back on.
Normally only lying on or over the ball, Jared. Paddling it in front of himself wouldn't be deemed to be in possession.
Troy Cook on left half forward and a tired Ange Christie on the mark. Stafford offers a lead. It's a little too far, but look who's at the back. A diving mark by Captain Kelly. The sensational player.
He's got so much acceleration. He came out of the sun and just blitzed them.
7 games away from a major milestone in his career, that being 150 games. He'll bring the house down if he can kick this. Shouldn't give him a rap. It's not good. In towards full forward. Ruse is there. Stafford does the roving. Onto the left foot. His snap kick is partly smothered. McKay comes away with a hand pass to White. He shovels it further forward to Spalding, who's caught and ripped out of it. Stewie Maxwell's a left footer. Goes back in towards full forward once again. Sexton is there on the last line of defence. Pops it over the top to Fraser Brown. He's got a bit of time.
And kicks to Kernahan at half-back. Kernahan's got Christou, and that's where he's going. Dunkley can have a go here with Christou. Oh, well played, Dunkley. Trapped it beautifully. Handball to O'Brien. O'Brien's got Ruse in the pocket. Now, Ruse could run on here. He's kept it in. It's 50 out. Handball terrific to King. King's been outstanding today. It's his 13th handball. Back to Ruse. Can he kick his 3rd goal? Just misses. And behind. Thinking a moment ago, Jared, with Hurd injured and Carey not playing for a fair while, Kelly's just about the #1 man in the game, isn't he, at the moment?
Yeah, a few players have suggested that over the last couple of weeks, that he is the most influential individual member of a side. It's a great mantle to have the best player in the competition, and it sits very comfortably with him.
I think there'd be a few arguments. The advantage is going to be paid here to Hannah. Over the back he goes to the lead of Murphy. Whitnell's screaming for it. Murphy goes back. Came into this game with 5 goals next to his name for the season. 5-4. And looking for his first goal of the day. Carlton looking for their 8th. Kicking from 45 metres. Drop punt. And again hitting the woodwork. Second time this quarter. The fans starting to stream out of the SCG. They have seen a wonderful performance by the home side. Dyson back into play, and a good mark taken by Wharf. Carey came in, but Wharf stood his ground and bounces his way in towards the middle. Floats one towards Creswell. Got to take on Hamill. Lewis is there with him, and Hamill beats them both. Does well. Pepe does the shepherding. It goes down towards Whitnell. He's got to beat Seymour. Can't do that, and he just heads for the boundary line. Seymour and Dunkley forming the nucleus, and of course Ruse, of a phenomenal defence. 130 plays 54. Seymour again, but it's Wharf over the back who slaps it with a right. They need to be taken by Brown, who finds McKay on the outer side.
Centre wing, centering ball to Whitnell. Good kick. Whitnell about 60 out and then delivers to full forward. Murphy the target. Got him. He's kicked 4 behinds Murphy. This is his best chance. Seymour coming off to for the Swans. He's earned a rest. Murphy straight in front. A lot of possessions after half-time. Orchard coming on for Seymour. As Murphy kicks from 40 metres out directly in front. And he's hit the post again. Well, we wouldn't read about that. 5 behinds to Justin Murphy. 7-13. Kicked 1-5 in the last quarter, Carlton. Dyson, who's kicked in magnificently today. Hardly made a mistake. That's a good grab by Carey. Not Pagey, had a lot of it. Doesn't matter in the end. Nix has been handy. He's been a good link, Nix. Couple of bounces. He's trying to draw Clappe. Clappe won't be in it. And Nix delivers to Stafford. Over the top. Bouncing ball. Will Lewis get onto it? Off the ground. I think he's pretty tired, Dale, actually. He's had enough. He's had a big day, Lewis.
The official attendance will be interesting because whilst there's a few people now just starting to trickle out, there aren't hasn't been too many spare seats in the house.
No, full house. Throwing in the left forward pocket.
They got 6,000 next door for the rugby league match yesterday.
Maxfield under pressure.
Plenty of spare seats there, Bruce.
Well, they had a couple of early hiccups in Sydney, but they're right back on track now. It's a long season, though. There's a long, long way to go. As Silvani soccers off the ground towards Ratton. He's got Bradley there and uses him. Bradley can bounce his way down towards the middle. He's had a couple, the 251-game veteran. Looks down towards Murphy again, and he marks in front of the eyes, 50 metres out. Williams and Dyson together down in the forward line. He goes with a long kick. That's a lovely kick by Murphy, and an excellent goal. Justin Murphy finally breaks through for his first goal of the afternoon, and Carlton's 8. They trailed Sydney 19-16. Carlton 8-13.
Well, he keeps on keeping on, Craig Bradley. What a career he's had. This hasn't been one of the more memorable games he's participated in, but he has continued to motor. He's picked up his share of possessions with 25, and it just hasn't gone right for anyone at Carlton today.
130-61. So Murphy finally getting a goal. He certainly had a lot of chances. Free kick out of the centre, going to the Blues, is it, for an infringement?
Square infringement.
So Allen gets it. The free kick goes to full forward. Will Murphy get into the action again? Oh, great fight at the top of Roos and Pay. He's having a big last quarter, isn't he?
He's just got to thread it in between the two big sticks.
Wants some kicking practice.
And did Roos just touch his first, I wonder? It seemed to have a little bit of it, didn't he? Murphy ripped it away.
Yeah,
it was a good grab, wasn't it?
Have to pay that as a mark.
He's just hungrier than anybody else out there at the moment. Pops the footy. Kicks it from 50. Close. He's missed 1-6 to Murphy. 8-14 to 19-16.
7 long minutes remaining. Dyson. Grant breaks to the outer side. The tired Craig Bradley gives chase. He won't give up, Craig Bradley. Off he goes to Orchard. He's got a real burst about him. Look out, Stewie Maxfield. Bang, runs into trouble. Bradley also loses the ball and soccers off the ground. Wide towards centre wing. This is Brown. Under pressure and under threat of losing it. He does. Roos takes it. Pops the handball over the top. They've got the numbers everywhere. It's Orchard who gives it away to Creswell, who stops to an absolute standstill before pinpointing King. Up towards right half forward. Spalding and Nix both there. Nix has the better on that occasion. With the hand pass away. Sydney go charging in towards Lewis, a little too far for him. Stafford tries to flick it back, almost successful. Here's O'Brien, always dangerous in front of goal. Hamill right on his hammer. Still going is Aaron Hamill, close to the line. Keeps it in play to Hannah. Pops one up high, and the mark taken by Craig Bradley. He's in the back pocket, will come across the ground, and it's going to be okay. Finds Silvani. The Blues veterans, 215 gamer now. The team of the century fullback. Finds Whitnell. Lance Whitnell's kick is short but okay to Adam White, who kicked a couple of goals, in fact Carlton's only goals in the second quarter. Steve Kernahan, if it sits, he should goal. He sneaks away from Andrew Dunkley and pops one through. So Sticks gets his third for the half. Kicked one in the third term and now two in this final quarter. Still Carlton trying to close that 10-goal barrier.
Yes, and it seems as if Stephen Kernahan has been playing football for about 35 years. He's been such a huge player in the game for many, many, many seasons. And he's finished up with 3 goals. Great performance in a struggling team.
19-9. The official attendance has just gone up on the board. 40,623. What a remarkable turnout. Fantastic crowd, and they've seen their team at their best today. It's a bit hard for them at the moment. The intensity level's obviously gone down a bit. Carlton getting some late goals, but Sydney's first 3 quarters were brilliant. O'Loughlin sits and waits for it. Taken by Hannah. Short to Clappe. Clappe inboard. And Hamill's kick wide. Allen, Rue still fighting for it. Then Grant and the mark by King. Could be too many times they've had 40,000 here. So an AFL match, that must be very close to the record. Carey inside. Good take that time by Grant. Delivers to half forward. O'Brien on hands and knees. Sexton with him, good effort. Free kick to Sexton. Advantage given to White.
And White's away, just chipping into the middle. Kernahan is there. Murphy's alone on half forward. He's only got to get it to him. And he'll have a shot. 45 out for his second goal. He's kicked 1 goal, 6 out of Carlton's 9-14. Murphy from 45 starts this way more left and is successful. 2-6 to Murphy. The official record attendance here against the Cats. Last year 44,000. Still 40 today. It's a fantastic effort.
Kernahan once again in the play, gets the ball down quickly to Justin Murphy, who got one through.
Something, Bruce, that you might be able to relate to in the next few weeks. Let's hope he or she is as quiet.
Very clucky at the moment, Sandy.
I've noticed.
19-16 to 10-14. Bradley out of the centre, so Carlton making something of the final term. In the pocket, Williams, can he bring it back to the advantage to Murphy, who's having a huge last quarter. And so behind, so what's he kicked? 2 goals, 7, I think. 2-7. Just repeating what Sandy said a moment ago. 44,000 here last year for Geelong. 44,000, the record crowd. And over 40 today. 19-16 to 10-15. Ruse to bring it in. Shannon Grant running hard. And Clappe belts it over the line.
I think for memory there was a huge expectation and build up for the Geelong game last year, and the Swans made a mess of them also.
Had a big win here. Carey, Allen. Grant gave it away, taken by Koutafidis. Koutafidis, good kick. There's another one. First goal for Anthony Koutafidis for today. And when you look at that scoreline, you might think that Carlton have been in it for a while, but they haven't.
No, there were signs at about the 10-minute mark of the first quarter that there was only going to be one side in this contest. We just couldn't accept the fact that Carlton were going to offer little resistance, and we watched for the first half almost in disbelief. But the Swans machine just kept getting better and better and better, and finally they let up about 15 minutes ago, and Carlton got some respectability onto the scoreboard.
Lockett, of course, on the bench having a spell.
Hamill slaps it forward, but straight to Lewis, who pinpointed out Maxfield, and away goes Stewie. A tired Fraser Brown chases. Maxfield goes into the pocket. He wanted O'Loughlin. Got a touch to it, maybe. No, too late, says the umpire, and it's out of bounds on the full. So Hannah will bring it back. Coming back into the Carlton lineup, Milhana kicks towards the half-back line. Cook was the fly, couldn't take the mark. White there. Nix, Christou, King, McKay, another bounce.
And hasn't Dale Lewis blossomed as a player? A couple of seasons ago, there was some suggestion he was going to go down to the then Footscray, and his future really was on the line. He is such a talented player that a lot of people frustrated with his lack of consistency during the Barassi era. The last 12 months, 14 months, he's just been a fantastic player.
Kick from Kelly goes across the ground. O'Brien and Silvani. Silvani leads his man and charges towards the ball. O'Brien's right there with him. Well done by Sauce. Gives it away to Craig Bradley, who's got a bit of time now in the middle. A couple of bounces. He heads down towards half forward. Looks inside 50. Koutafidis, Kernahan, they're both there. The ladder takes it. Pops it over towards Whitnell. From a standing start, he eventually gets going. Snaps in towards goal and misses to the left. 11-16, plays 19-16. 8 goals, the margin. At one stage it was something like 12.
Bad kick by Dyson, his first for the match. Koutafidis for the Swans have just lost concentration completely here. Good kick, Kernahan, just missing a behind. They've reduced the margin by 31 points in the last quarter, Carlton, so they're saving a little bit in terms of their percentage today. 11-17 to 19-16. But unfortunately for them, they're still going to be very much down the bottom of the table with just 2 wins in the first 6. Dunkley, big fly, good kick, wanting touch. Christou, King, McKay to put the pressure on King, and he does with a hip and shoulder, and it's going to be a boundary throw-in. Got to go down to Cardinia Park next week in Sydney. That'll be a cracking match. With Geelong having won its last 3. Lewis front spot. Cook, he'd be pretty fresh and pretty hungry too, I'd imagine. For as many kicks as he can get late in the match. Kelly attacks. Magnificent opening by Kelly to Nix, to Maxwell. Now this would be the cream.
It is. It is.
They just wanted one more, didn't they? Beautiful play. Kelly, the little give. Nix give. Maxwell's first.
Yeah, we'll just have another look at this one develop. As Cook gets the ball long, Kelly's take and give was superb, as was Nix, who went straight into shepherding mode, and that's important. And a good finish by Stuart Maxfield.
That prompts the Sydney chant. They know the siren is not too far away. Stafford back for a run. Ratton couldn't take it. Kelly gets it out beautifully to Lewis. Here they go again down towards Stewie Maxwell. It's only got to sit. Delightfully to King, and he'll get amongst the goal kickers. Finishing on a high. Captain King in his 7th game gets his first goal.
Back to that old 10-goal game, Sandy.
That's been the margin for most of the afternoon. After the first goal, first quarter blast by the Swans, they just have not relented.
It's fitting that they have finished in a bit of style. It would have been pretty flat had they hadn't kicked at least one late. King's been excellent. First game back last week. Looked a bit out of sorts in the slippery Waverley Park, but today, he's looked the goods. 21-11.
You suspect that the Swans are really suited by a fast track. They've got so much speed through the middle of the ground now.
Yeah, no doubt. Certainly Stafford and Kelly give them a real edge in that department in the centre square. White's kick, Rouge, Cooter after him, back to Rouge. Excellent game again by their veteran, Kelly. It's finishing in style. Started brilliantly. Goes to full forward. Late chance, Nix. It happened in the third quarter. I think it happened in the first too, but it's not that fun. big celebration in the old town tonight. Brilliant performance by the Swans. Absolutely outstanding.
It's a fantastic win, 142 to 83. A number of stations will be taking the double.